Welcome back, guys. Today I'm going to show you how I turn this kitchen splashback into something like this. Using this tile pattern can really elevate the look of your kitchen, and it's a lot easier to install than it looks. So first up, we have this nice ceramic tile in pink. You can get these in various different colours to fit your personal design. This is the pattern laid out that I'm going to install. Tile patterns can be seen as challenging, but if you lay it out like this for reference first, you really can't go wrong. The main challenge is deciding where to start. For me, as this has a corner pillar and it's the thing that stands out the most, that's where I've decided to start this pattern a full tile off of this corner and continue it around the walls. I could centre the main wall, but as it's a pattern, I want it to start where your eye is first drawn to when walking into the kitchen. As the tap is black, I'm going for this black metal tile trim just to finish the tile edges on the corner and the tops, as this will match nicely. So first up, I put some 2mm spacers in the tiles, then I can just get an accurate mark of how wide the pattern is. With my tape, I double check from my corner that nothing will work out badly. Same as with herringbone, as it's a pattern, the piece that comes off of the cut will continue onto the next wall and just carry on. I've marked my cut on the tile here, and the piece with the X will go onto the next wall, but I'll show you that in practice later. Next up, in a kitchen you would tend to start a full tile from the bottom, so I'll just go around with my level and make sure the worktops are level, so I don't get any nasty surprises. If your worktops are not level, then always start up from the lowest point and you'll have to trim down the tiles as you go. I'll add spacers again to get an accurate mark for the height. I can then just mark the wall and draw a level line for spreading the adhesive. As it's a ceramic tile, I can use ready mixed bucket glue, and I use a 6mm trowel as the back of the tiles are flat. Then I just spread my first section, trying to keep all the ribs in the same direction. Then simply following my laid out pattern, I place the tiles on the wall with a push and a wiggle to get a good connection. Once I get a few on the wall, I'll add some spacers and check for level to get it nice and straight. You don't have to use spacers with these wavy edge tiles so much. If you do, just use them as more of a guide and use your line or level to get them straight, as spacers will tend to kink them all over the place. But if you're starting off a level surface, you can't really go too far wrong. For my cuts, I just mark the tile, then with my small ruby cutter, scribe and snap piece off. Again, as it's a pattern, I'm keeping the off cut for the next wall, which is this bigger piece. And I just mark it here so I know what is what. I then repeat the process for all the other cuts. I can then just fill in the rest of the wall, and that just leaves me with this little L-shaped notch cut around the cupboard, which is a pretty nasty cut, but as these tiles are ceramic, I'm pretty confident I can get it off with the angle grinder. Ceramic tiles are a bit less brittle than porcelain tiles, which helps for thin little strip cuts like this. And there we go, that came off first time. With a porcelain tile, that little strip would more than likely break off, which is another good reason why ceramic tiles are nice to work with. I'll pop that in later, but next for my trim, I marked the upright with my tape, then I can just mark that onto the trim. Using a metal blade and my angle grinder, I'll just easily cut the trim to size first. Now I have the length, I will add a mitre to the top by just roughly going through at a 45-degree angle. I then just use my diamond rubbing block to smoothen up any sharp edges. I spread the adhesive on the pillar, then I can add the trim and tiles so I continue the pattern around the corner. I just add a little bit of adhesive to the tile to bond it with the trim. Now I mark and cut the trim for the top, again adding the adjacent mitre to marinate with the piece on the wall. I add a bit of adhesive and slot it down behind the tiles. I'll adjust with some tape and wedges if needed to get it so it all sits nicely. And I just put my level on top to make sure everything is all good. Next, I just mark and cut the last piece of trim. This one is just an easy straight cut. As the top tiles on the wall would have set by now, being ceramic, I just pop them off, apply some fresh adhesive, then I can add the trim, tiles, and lastly that fragile cut. I finish with my level and just adjust the tiles accordingly. I use some wedges to precision the trim where I want it, and that is the pillar looking all good. On to the next wall. After spreading a patch, I've got my numbered cuts that I place in first to continue the pattern around the corner. For the plug sockets, I just mark the top and bottom and scribe an L shape on my cutter. Then I can just grind the shortest side here and simply use my pinchers to take the piece out. This is why you scribe it first. For bigger cuts, you can snap it off with the breaker of the cutter or just use an angle grinder to take out the whole shape, whichever way you prefer. And from there, it's pretty straightforward. I just continue the pattern, cut around the sockets and any notches under the cupboards using the same methods. And as the pattern is on the wall, it's pretty easy to follow now. I actually tiled this in under an hour, and that's how easy something like this can be for you guys watching for your own kitchens. As long as you've got an angle grinder, a tile cutter and some basic tools, that's all you need to do this yourself. And using Subway tiles in a tile pattern like this just really mixes it up from everything else you see. And here is the final result. I grouted this with a light grey grout to add a soft touch, and it came out really nice. A stunning kitchen design that adds a bit of wow factor to your kitchen. Don't forget to like and subscribe, guys, if you like the content. And if you want to see a Subway tile in a bathroom, then click this video right here.